565, still doing prep work on it. This video will contain the rest of the prep job that I did on this block, chamfering and going through the oil galleys and chamfering the cam tunnel leading edges and soft plugs, pretty much everything that I do with a brand new block. Probably run a timing chain gasket. Well, will run a timing chain gasket on that front cover. That should take care of the interference. Oh, just do a little more edge breaking, I guess. Deburring. Sewing bores. Okay, we're going into the edges of the camshaft tunnel. We're going to try to roll the edges. It's kind of a tricky deal, but we want to break these edges lightly. Anything's better than nothing. They are really sharp, and it aids into not shaving the camshaft bearings when you're putting them in. So we're going to start on that. Catch the edges of the lifters bores while we're down there. We're not trying to go for the changing the housing bore. We're just breaking the edges of the entrance of the housing bore. Okay, we'll do the front of the camshaft housing boards. Going over the top where we drilled and tapped it. Make sure there's no burrs hanging off of that. Well, we're going to call that good on them. I think we got them pretty well taken care of. You go in there with a brush. that up. But now we're going to take the caps off. There's an intersection angle in here, in this cap, that I always make sure that that's clear. And it doesn't matter if it's a factory block or aftermarket block. You want to make sure that that intersection angle, there's no residue in there from when they drilled it. So we're going to do that. And then I usually go in here and I'll clean it up with a flap wheel. Then I'll take the cap off. So that's the next thing I'll do, is I'll take run a flap wheel in here and clean up this oil passage. Then I'll take the cap off and I'll make sure that the intersection angle, like that, going down into the block, we'll go in there and clean that out too. Like I said, all these oil passages, I'm going to go in and chamfer lightly these. And then that's going to be it on this block. And then it'll be prep the cam bearings. Well, the area where the pump sets is plenty flat enough. It's got a little low spot there, but that pump don't even set that far over. So I'll hit it a couple more times, but I think we're going to call that good and flat. Okay, so I got the caps off. We're going to go in and break the edges on these. Like I said, I'm going to hit the oil pan rail real quick with an airboard. It don't feel bad, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to address the drain back. There's a little bit of a burr on that. I'm going to clean that off. I know this isn't very exciting, but this is how I was taught how to do this. And, you know, a lot of guys may not spend this much time, and I get that. But I do, and I spend a whole lot more time than this. So if you can put a value on it, I don't know, but this is what I do. Now, there's on this block, because it's all freshly machined, there's a lot of sharp edges on it. So now you don't normally have to do this on a GM block after it's, you know, been apart and together a few times. It seems like after they've been wire wheeled and whatnot, they just aren't this sharp. But apparently all the dart blocks I've ever seen, or world blocks, or any of them, they all need prep work. So if you think you're just going to buy it and take it out of the box and put it together, well, maybe you can do that, but I haven't done that. So whether you think it's a waste of time, that's fine. I'm just going over the things how I feel that they should be done. Now I'm going to lightly probably sand these with a stone. I'm not trying to take much of the surface off, but I just want to make sure it's flat and it's clean. To hang on at least to do a couple of them. Just want to do them to say that I did them. We're going to do the oil drain back here for the seal area. Catch that while we're there. Okay. A little sandpaper, and this is real fine. I'm just gonna make sure there's nothing hanging up. It's good. We'll probably hit these with a file on the edges. They actually don't feel bad. You got to watch these. A lot of times they're quite sharp, but these actually don't feel bad. They cut this for an O-ring. You want to make sure that that isn't sharp. You can hear my fingernail clicking off the edge as it's on there. So we want to that's good. Now we just got to hit it with an air board lightly, and then I'm going to call this block ready to assemble, assuming that the aluminum rods clear the cutouts in the oil pan rail, which it's only a 1/4 inch stroke, but aluminum rods take up a lot of real estate. So hopefully it's going to be, wash it really good, check to make sure that the rods clear through the crankcase area, and if that's the case, then we'll start putting it together, which will make me extremely happy. You can see it's a little rough in there. I did smooth it out. I ain't going to take any more out, but it's, you know, you never know what's laying in there. Okay, I've smoothed out that intersection in the cap I was talking about. And you can see that it's got a nice smooth transition now. So this is going to wrap up the 565. Next video I'll probably make on it is me setting the crank and making sure everything clears. So if you like the videos, please hit the like button and subscribe if you would. Thank you very much.